Hello everybody, and welcome back to Town to City. We are experimenting with all of the new farming decorations that we have unlocked, and we're trying to build an amazing little farming village that's going to have all kinds of raw materials and resources to build some really cool trade goods. Those of you who watch my videos may notice that this area looks a little bit different, but that's because I have recorded about an hour and a half of footage already, and when I went back to check it and to make sure everything was okay, all of the footage was corrupted and I lost everything. Now I could destroy stuff, try to put everything back and redo it, but I've decided that that's really not worth my time, and I just can't do that because if I got other things going on in my real life. So let me walk you through some of the things that I have done to the town already, and then we'll get back to the footage that I already have where you can watch some of the builds and be inspired, hopefully, with your own cities. So we're gonna start off with this area, which is a little bit different than it was in the last episode. I was hoping to unlock tier 2 in my farming town, which would give me access to more crops and more goods and more decorations. But to do that, I needed a little bit more farming points. And so I added a few more things, made things a little bit bigger. I added this windy road because I'm planning on building up here in the future. And then when I added some more crops, I also need another granary. So we've got another granary here that was put in, and I'm really super happy with how this particular one turned out because I was able to use a farmhouse and I think use decorations and the positioning of the granary to actually make it look like it's kind of like a lighthouse keeper. This is the granary keeper. This is the guy that runs the business. And even though this is a house where he lives, that's also the business where things kick off. And you'll just see that around here, there's a few more farms and a few more houses and things that have been added in just to kind of make the area more lush and more full. The other thing that got worked on was that I had a request from the mayor's house to build a bakery. And so I put this bakery in, I pulled the road up a little bit farther and added a few houses as well. And I decorated it all out, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. I like the way it looks. I do wish I had more industrial decorations to use, like barrels and boxes and things, but maybe we'll get those later. But for now, I think it looks pretty nice. And what this allowed me to do was to wait while I collected more farming points so that I could upgrade the town to tier 2 and get access to more of the farming decorations and the more crops and things like that. So I think that pretty much catches us up on where we are in the city and the things that I lost my video footage of. The bakery and this extension over here for the granary, and as well as moving a few roads and pathways around. Nothing too major. You guys didn't miss much. So now let's get back to the regular episode and all of the stuff that I do have footage for, because my goodness, we built some amazing stuff this episode and you're gonna love to see it. So hang in there with me. We're gonna see some cool stuff. Well, all right then. So the bakery is put in overlooking our town here as the sun sets, and let's pull up our menus and see what kind of research and advancements we can do, because that's what we were waiting for. We needed to get enough farm points, and we have them now. So let's take a look at farms tier 2. Bam. New research items available. Farm point cap increased to 800. All right, that's nice. And what do we have? We got beeswax, cotton, roses, utility decorations. Now we're talking. Extra granary workers and global stockpile. What is this? Allows you to access your crops from any city. Unlock anywhere regardless of city level. So that means that I can put a winery and bakery and things in my other town. That is very cool. All right, I think we can also upgrade the city from a hamlet, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and upgrade to a village too, just so I can get all of that stuff. So let's go over here and hit the hamlet button, and we're gonna watch our train station expand once again. Hooray for us, hooray for us. More fireworks. It's prettier at night. You can actually see them. And there we go. We've done this before, but now we should be able to use our research points to unlock some more stuff over here. Though I think we've already unlocked all this stuff in the other towns, so I'm pretty sure I already had this stuff available. Yeah, okay. So the next step is gonna be small town, but we're not really worried about that quite yet because we wanna do some farming. But I'm gonna have to collect a whole bunch of farm points first. So let me let the game run for a while so I can store up some farm points and unlock some things and see what else we can build. All right, well, I went ahead and waited a little while and I unlocked the roses, I unlocked the cotton, I unlocked the beeswax, and I unlocked the utility decorations. We're waiting for more farm points to generate to get the rest of the stuff. But this is cool. So rose gardens, cotton fields, and beehives, I guess. And I have to figure out where I want to put it. And I've taken a look at the map. And this area over here is sloped. I think sloped areas are more fit for vineyards. And so I think I might want to turn that into like a wine district. And everything behind the train station is nice and all, but I want to start coming around the lake a little more. Now I looked over here, and this area is nice and flat, and I can get rid of these trees, and I could build farms in here. And I'm thinking with the roses, how cool would it be if I was able to build some gardens with pathways and make like some decorative rose gardens that didn't look so much like just a farm field, but added a little bit of beauty and aesthetics to the area. And then I can also put in some beehives and things as well. But I'm kind of excited about doing this garden thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on it, and I'm gonna see what I can come up with. All right, so hang with me for just a second here, but I just had an idea. What if, with my flower farm, we turned this area here by this cliff into like an outdoor wedding / banquet place? How cool would that be? Let me see if I can have a little thought about a really cool way to do this and see if I can set it up. right, so I went ahead and took my first stab at putting in my first rose farm. It doesn't look like a traditional farm in any sense, but I decided to raise my roses as a decorative garden that doubles as a marriage center or wedding center. I personally absolutely adore how the roses are mixed in with the different tiered yellow and white flowers to give some depth, and I love the way that it all blends together with the paths to make an inviting wedding center. And if you look here in the middle, we've got the place for the ceremony to take place. My only issue is I wish I had better lighting. All I've got is these light posts and jack-o'-lanterns, and those don't really fit what I'm going for, but I have lots of flowers and I have lots of trees and shrubbery, and I'm really happy with how that turned out. And then if you swing over here, I have installed kind of a little after the wedding banquet area, kind of an outdoor plaza where people can sit. All I've got is picnic tables, so that's what I've used, but there's even a little dance floor in the middle where they can, shake a leg after getting married and enjoying themselves with the family dinner. And then I kind of figured that this place over here, the house, needed to be incredibly decorative, and even though it's only a farmhouse, I think because of the way I decorated it, it kind of looks a little bit like the chapel or the main center where you would go in to do your wedding planning and all that kind of stuff. I don't consider myself the most romantic person in the world, but if I could have gotten married in a place like this, I think I and my wife would have enjoyed it a lot. So you guys tell me, is there anything you would have done different here? You've seen the different tools that I have available and the different decorations. Is there anything you would have changed? Is there anything that you think would make this better? Put a comment down below and let me know, and I'll definitely take your suggestions into consideration for any future projects. But I am super happy with this build, and I really like the way it came together, so let me know what you think. I look forward to hearing your feedback. So now that we have our wedding chapel all installed and ready to go, it's time to take a look at a few other things that we had available in the research menu. We unlocked not only some new rose farms, but we have beeswax and cotton that's going to lead to a hatter. And I think I want to make it the goal of this episode to get the hatter installed. So that means we're going to need a cotton farm and we're going to need a beeswax area. What do you call it? A beery or an aviary? I don't know what they're called. In order to get all the raw materials that we need for this. As we do this, we're going to be collecting farm points, so we're going to be unlocking all of this stuff too. But if I get the hatter unlocked, I can set the hat colors for the people in my town, and as we all know, having a good hat is super important. So let's take a look at what these things are. I'm just gonna drop a farmhouse in because I just wanna see what the cotton and the bees look like. That is not going to be where that goes. That's not going to stay. That is just a temporary thing. All right, so if I click on this, I hit edit farm. Let's check out cotton first. What does cotton look like? Looks like that. Okay, that's gonna be pretty easy to handle. Kind of a neat white color. I'll have to think about what I want to do with that. But then we have the beeswax. What does this look like? Oh, that is kind of unique. What's going on here? These are little beehives surrounded by flowers. Do these things just generate randomly, or does it already have an assigned location? Let's see what happens if I erase that and put that back in. Does it look the same? All right, so we got 3 beehives in a row there. And if I erase that, then I come back and put 3. Okay, so basically it's just a texture that is always going to be the same no matter where you put it. That is a lot of beehives. That's a little odd. I don't raise bees myself, but I don't think that they quite look like this. However, it is a lot of color, and it's going to be exciting to use that color and textures to add a little bit more to the map. We could go the route that we went over here with the wedding chapel and use the bee farm, I don't know, for some gardens and things, but we've done that, and we're going to have to do something different. My eye is drawn to this cliff up here, and I don't think this cliff is going to give us enough space to actually install a farmhouse, but it could give us enough space to put like a little track up here that follows the cliff, and the beehives all grow up here, and then the farmhouse could be somewhere down here. I don't think they actually have to be all that close together because some of these roses got quite far away from this house, and it doesn't really matter. So let's just get some things sized in. So I don't think, yeah, that's just not going to work. There's not really any way to get, oh, that was cool. There's not really any way to get a farmhouse built in there, but we could put the farmhouse down this way, and then we could build all of our beehives up on the cliff and give like a little pop of color above the wedding chapel, and we'll see how that works. All right, we got that built in. So let's go ahead and edit this. We are gonna have to bring some amenities over here eventually, but that's for later. Let's look at this. Okay, I could make the brush as small as I want, and I could put these in here. And do I wanna do any particular style or decoration, or do I just wanna drop a road in and see what I can come up with? Let me experiment. That's a bit much. I don't think I really like that. I'm gonna take that out. That's a little better. I do wish that I had like a low flagstone wall kind of thing, but maybe I'm gonna unlock something like that later, but for now we don't have it. But I'm just gonna continue on and see how this works out. All right, so we have the winding pathway of beeswax completed. I kind of like this random wildflower look, and putting it up on the cliff gave it a little bit more texture and made it a little bit more interesting in my opinion. And I decided to continue the build up the cliff face to the very top, where I have put in what I'm thinking of as like a recreational bed and breakfast kind of thing, with a few little cottages, some playgrounds, some picnic tables, an area for people to bring their kids and their families up and enjoy a little bit of sunshine on top of the hill, hill, and it also gave me an excuse to put a little bit more population in, which is also kind of cool. And then the pathway winds along the cliff face over here until you get to a nice overlook that backs up against the edge of the map and allows people to overlook our beautiful city. Hopefully there won't be too many peeping Toms looking down on the wedding festivities happening down below, but you know, I gotta fit things in where I can fit things in, and this cliff was pretty small, and the best I could come up with was 3 buildings, houses to put up here. I decided to make use of this brand new large shed asset that I got with one of the upgrades. It's really cool. I kind of turned it into a little bit of, I don't know, of a greenhouse or just a place, you know, where they actually process the honey and store things. I think it looks pretty cool doing that. I'm pretty happy with this build. I really like the way it's come together, and that gets 2 out of 3 of our crops completed. And once we get the cotton put in, we are going to be all set to build ourselves a little shopping area to give the people up on the cliff a place to go. Because right now I've got all the icons turned off. They're a little unhappy about the fact that they're up on the hill, far away from all of the amenities. So we are going to have to put some of those in. But the cotton comes next, and then the hatter, maybe some places for them to eat. But all in all, I am super happy with this wonderful windy pathway and the flowers and the view that it gives and the cool little getaway up on the cliff above the farm. I like that they're giving us these different farm assets that we can use for decoration. It really gives a little bit of fun pop and panache to the game, allowing you to do some different things. So let's do some cotton next. So cotton, where are we gonna put the cotton? I'm not gonna put it over here because I have some plans for the section over here on the right. And I'm looking at my map and I've got this cornfield up here. And what if this road just continued on and we put some cotton up above on this area up here on this cliff? And then eventually over here, I think I want to put some housing in up here just to mix things in with a little bit of commercial and stuff, because the farther we get away from the city center, the more difficult it's going to be for our houses to have access to all the amenities that they want. This is a problem we're having over here with these 3 houses that I put in. But I'm thinking we can bring this road around and do our cotton field and our little farmhouse right in here. And then once we have cotton, we'll have all of the things that we need for the hat shop. We'll have our, the beeswax, we'll have the flowers, and we'll have the cotton, and we can put in that final shop and we'll be all set. So pull up our little menu here. Let's take a look at whereabouts we want to put this farm. I'm thinking for this one, kind of facing up a bit with some trees behind it might be nice. Go for like a bit of an angle here just to give some variation. Yeah, maybe like that. And then the road, we'll just curve that around, come up the hill. And we'll pull this around like so. We'll get that house built. That is a messy road. Let me do better. All right, let's get the cotton put in. Now, cotton fields, which I have seen quite a few of in my life, pretty much are just a row crop in nice rectangular shapes, very similar to wheat fields. They're harvested by machines that go up and down the rows, and there's not a lot of variation to them in my experience. So I'm just gonna try to draw some fairly straight rows here with just a little gap between them. And there we go. We finally got enough corn, or finally have enough cotton. I can erase a little bit here, bring in this patch here, and that's our farm with the cotton. So let me decorate this and get all the fences and things put in, and we'll come back and take a look at it. little farmhouse is done with our cotton fields, and I like how this kind of turned out. When I put these houses in, because some of the decorations that we have available to us are a little bit limited in this game, I'm trying to think of ways to make things more interesting. And so what I try to do is I try to use pathways and roads and a lot of the vegetation to see if I can make unique shapes that turns the footprint of each structure into something different. So I don't just have the same repeated pattern over and over and over again, because it's really easy with these houses all looking identical to constantly have the same thing. So if you look at this one here, it has a little bit more of an angled look to it with the pumpkin patch in the back that's square and a little bit more of a rectangle shape and some triangular sharp angles. But this one, I tried to go with more rounded edges, and I tried to use the trees to soften up the road line so that things just look a little bit different and unique here. I do like how you can use these fences and make it look like gates just to kind of help break things up a little bit when it comes to the monotony of the fences. And then I did this, and I want to see what you guys think. I'm trying this for the first time. Have you ever been out to the western part of the United States or in Texas and things like that? And a lot of ranches have these wooden archways or kind of overhangs that show that, you know, here's a ranch, and in the movies they often have like a cow's dried skull on it or something. Well, I thought if I put two flags together, I could kind of make a gateway arch. What do you think? Does that work? Does that look good? Let me know in the comments if you like that, because I'm trying to get more creative with how we can combine things together to make some new shapes. I like this thing. I know the flag is waving, but when you look at it from a distance, it just looks like a overhang on like a gate opening, and you could put fences on either side if you really wanted to, but I just think it looks welcoming, and it gets all the cotton that we need for the rest of our industry. And if we zoom out and look at it, this whole little agricultural area up on the hill, I think is really starting to come together, and the houses look like they belong without looking too, I don't know, redundant and repetitive, I think. So that's gonna work. So we have everything that we need. We've got the roses, we got the cotton, we got the beeswax, and now we can put in a hatter, and that is going to go over here. This area in front of the beeswax space that I was saving, the hatter is gonna go in this spot right here, and in addition to the hatter, I'm going to put in some food stalls and things, because as our town grows this direction, there's gonna be a lot of housing over here. I wanna turn this area on the cliff into like a lakefront residential area, and they're gonna need places to go shopping. So that's gonna be the last project I think I'm gonna work on. So let's take a look at this hatter and get this stuff put together. I like this building. It's even not too terribly large. I think I'm gonna put a big wall up to give some separation to the rose garden, because those people would want their privacy a little more. I mean, I say that, but I put an overlook where people can watch the weddings. But hey, you're only a hypocrite if anybody cares. So this is what I came up with for my little shopping area that's going to be feeding the area around here. We got the hatter put in, we got these little vegetables and fish and what shops put in the back. I decided to go with a little seating area with some bushes and things, kind of just between you and me. This kind of reminds me of at amusement parks and places like that, where you have like the smoking area where people have to go like be shunned by all the public so they can smoke, whatever. But we've got one put in here, just a little filler space. And then when I put all this stuff in, I realized that we needed another warehouse. So I've gone ahead and put a warehouse in here and just kind of decorated it up, tried to make it look as natural and organic as possible. I may make some changes to this and move it around, but that's kind of what we needed. And then I also found out that I needed another granary. So I've just dumped one in over here, and I haven't done anything with it yet because I don't know where I want to put it, but I just need it to make things function. So the granary is there. Back to my little area here. I'm starting to kind of enjoy experimenting with the whole flag gateway gateway thing, and I decided to include these little bollard pillars into the mix to see if it made kind of a nice multi-tiered experience. And the graphics are kind of glitchy and it doesn't always work perfectly, but I think it's kind of cool, and I do like how it turned out. I got these to line up pretty good, and this is something I want to experiment with more and see if I can make this work a little better. But I just like the way that it encourages people to come in here. If I turn on my icons here, these houses, even though they're very close, because this road winds way over here and the game calculates not necessarily distance as the crow flies, but how much road someone has to walk to be able to access services, you'll see that none of these services reach up there. So I am gonna have to do something, and I think upgrading the roads might be it. I want to try something because I want to keep this sand road look. I don't like the upgraded roads at all. I personally think they're ugly, and I don't like how they don't blend into the rest of the thing, but I want to experiment with a possibility. I wonder what would happen if I were just to kind of draw down the middle of the road and create a very thin little stripe, if that would count and make things work better. What if I made this like a big circle and then I tried to eyeball it somewhere close to the middle so it looks like it's supposed to be here, like that, and then I came in with the smaller brush at like really small, like a 0.5 maybe, yeah, like that. What would happen if I just ran these from all of the industrial buildings and just tried to follow the center? Will that allow me to cheese the system to improve the transport without completely wrecking the look of my town? What do you think? Is that as awful as I think it is right now? Let me put some more in and see how I like it. So what do we think about my improved capacity little strip that goes down the middle of the sandy road? Does that look okay? Is it weird? Believe it or not, it actually did help quite a bit, and it freed up a lot of my warehouse workers, and it also allowed me to increase the demand on different places. All right, so I did make a small change up here. I put in a couple of little stalls and got those put in. So now the people in these houses up on the cliff are super happy, and I don't think it really ruined the aesthetic too much. It kind of gives a little gift shop or a little market next to the bed and breakfast resort place up on the mountain. And, you know, I didn't have to lose too much. Took a couple picnic tables out, but no big deal. It fits in really nice to this whole bee farm area. Well, we sure did get a lot done in this episode, including this little cotton farm that's going to give our hat maker the resources that it needs. I like some of the new shapes I was able to put in for this property, and my experimenting with the flags to make little gateway entries. Pretty cool little thing. Not much of a build. Didn't take a lot of time, but even the little ones can add a lot to a city. And so for our hat maker, we also needed beeswax. So I put in this beeswax farm, as well as some cliffside bed and breakfast housing resort type things. And I love how this came together with all of the colors and all of the textures. And I love the windy road that just gives it a little bit of depth and levels to it. So it's not just flat. I like how we've got different colors going on. We've got different heights in the flowers and the bushes and things. And I love using these farming resources as decoration. And last but not least, we have this beautiful, cute little garden chapel that I was able to do with the rose gardens. I love the vibrant red colors of the roses and how I was able to take a farmhouse and turn it into a wedding chapel, complete with a dance area and an outdoor seating plaza, and of course, the area where they could hold the ceremonies over there, and all of the lovely people in my town can get hitched in the beauty of all of these flowers, smelling the sweet scents on the breeze. But as the sun sets on our beautiful little town here, I think that's about all we have time for today. I've enjoyed trying some new things with the decorations and some new shapes with the buildings. If you liked it, let me know. If there's anything that you would have done different, or you think there's anything that I need to add or anything that's missing, please drop a comment down below, and also smash that like button. And if you want to see more of Town to City and some of the things that I'm going to come up with and some ideas that I have for future builds, go ahead and subscribe, and I'll be posting these, I'm hoping, on a weekly basis. But like I said, we've been here for a long time. That's all we got time for today. I appreciate everybody who viewed it, and until next time, I'll catch y'all later.